Okay, should I go on? Do you want me to stay on the phone?
Yeah. Let me just check a couple things here real quick. Nothing like
Okay,
live transitioning here. Uh,
that's okay. We're good with it. I was just chilling
we're
here.
going
I
ahead.
should look at the screen. I'm looking at this
Yeah, go
screen.
ahead and hang up. I got you.
Okay.
So
Is that better?
things are happening in the tech world. Marie is helping us out quite a bit, and yeah, Facebook is having all kinds of issues today, and we're just out and about doing our thing. And guess what? We're back live on Facebook and
Did
YouTube
it.
and ready to go. And I just want to check the sound on the radio to make sure we're good there. Go ahead and say something there, and we'll
Hi,
check those.
everyone. I'm Laura Ansel with the City of Northport. Thanks for
Awesome.
joining us.
We really look forward to having a full day's worth of video, but now we're live and ready to go. And
Perfect.
the one thing we were talking about is the social media side of things. Haha,
Hmm.
we're just joining in social media. So the social media side of things is when people put things on Facebook and you don't get to track it down. You've got good resources with the websites and everything else, and we've given that information prior. But there's also the playbook.
There
Playbook is
is.
a lot of good information, right?
There is, yeah. The playbook is kind of, and this is a little beat up copy for anyone who's watching. It says Laura's copy, right? Just in case any of my coworkers try and snag that one.
Right.
Um, but the playbook is our guide to all things parks and recs. So there's information in there about our parks. There's information in there about our athletic fields, our events, our programs, our fitness centers, etc. And so there's a lot of good information there. So I do encourage anyone who's wondering about events or wants to get kind of tied in with the community, whether you're new, whether you've been here a while, cityofnorthport.com/playbook has a digital copy. And you can swing by our centers, our community centers, the aquatic center anytime to pick up a copy as well. They're free. And then we have a lot of good friends. Our buddies over at the Chamber of Commerce have them. The libraries have them. Several of our local schools also keep them in their lobbies. So they're pretty easy to find. So I encourage you to pick them up. We're actually going to have a new one coming out here soon. So I think in the next month or so, we're wrapping up the next edition. So hard to believe, but the winter spring edition is going to be coming out soon.
So I want to set something up because I kind of want to prep for 22.
Oh, okay.
How about that for a change? Um, I have found that this year has flown by. I don't know about you, but everything just seems to be hyper fast. And I say that because I think we were shut down, then we started opening things up, and then it just seemed to get crazy.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you as far as the Parks and Recs department, because I think every department probably does this. I do this with my own business in real estate, but do you look back at your year? Hello.
I know.
There you go.
That's what happens. I hung up and now I'm getting the calls.
It's live radio, live in your office. This is great. So if you do you look back and then kind of project what you're going to do next year, and are you already kind of looking at that? Because
Yeah.
you know I we've had this conversation before, but I don't know that people really know how much time it takes to get things going for 22.
Sure. Yeah, no, I'm glad you asked that, John, because it's we have already set out our plan for 2022 and what we're going to be doing. And we're actually already setting our plan for the following fiscal year of 2023. I mean, that's how far in advance we're trying to set our budget expectations, what our goals are. We have several different factors to consider. So one of the things we do annually at this time of year is we start analyzing everything we did this past year. So from our communications to the events we held, we do a analysis, we do a survey and what we call a SWOC, which is a strength, weaknesses, challenges, kind of opportunities of every event, every program that we hold. And then we come up with what do we need to improve on? What went really well? What do we not want to change? And then we kind of roll that all up into one, right? So we're analyzing what we've done this year. And then we put that forward into a annual report, right? So usually every year we compile a report. I'll make a funny little video about it, of just sharing some of the numbers of, the 400 acres of green space that we mowed and maintained, and the playgrounds that were inspected every day. And sorry, they're not inspected every day. They're inspected every month. I don't want to give the
Yeah.
got to fact check myself. But yeah, so we put those reports together of here's what we're doing with our time. Here's how we're serving our community, and the ways in which we're providing essential services. We had X number of kids learn how to swim, and we worked on this. So we have this many teenagers who are using the Morgan Family Community Center. We're giving them a place to go. So we go through and we evaluate those things. We put it together in an annual report and we put it out there. But we have been looking forward for a while, and that's part of our budget process too as a city, is that we need to sit down together and say, okay, we need X amount of dollars, and here's what's coming up this year, and here's what we're going to be doing. And so that budget was approved. So we're moving forward. 10/1 is the start of our fiscal year that runs through September 30th. And we immediately start that process all over again for the following fiscal year. And so we've already put together program plans. So for every single event, activity, offering that we provide to the community, we have a program planner that our staff have developed that says, this is what we'd like to do. This is how it aligns with our mission as a city. This is how it aligns with our goals. This is our target audience of who we're really trying to help or reach with this program or activity. And this is how much it's going to cost potentially. And so we do that for every single thing we do. And that's an important part of the process. And so anything that's going to be on our list of upcoming things through September 30th of 2022 already has a program planner completed for it. So they're starting the ones for 10/1/2022 through 9/30/2023 at this point. So we work on that. And the other thing we do is we ensure that we are meeting our standards for our accreditation. As a department, we are accredited by the National Recreation and Park Association. And that accreditation is a high honor. They come in every I want to say 3 or 4 years. I'll have to double check that, but they come in and they're going to evaluate the standards that we are following and the procedures that we have in place to ensure that we are being fiscally responsible with taxpayer dollars, that our procedures are, we are doing what we say we're going to do. It's not just a process that's hidden on a computer that gathers dust, that we're surveying the community and getting feedback from them. As part of that plan to make sure that what we're giving them or providing is what's being asked for. And so that's a big part of what we do at about this time of year as well. And I mean, we're always doing CAPRA, but it's just a nice recheck of, okay, how did we meet their standards, their pillars? And CAPRA is important. There's only 2% of agencies nationwide that have this accreditation. So that means that we have very high standards for our work. And we hold ourselves accountable for what we're delivering to the community. And there was one more thing I was missing. Oh, community input.
Nice.
And that's also the time of year we're actually working on pulling together our community input survey right now. And we do this on an annual basis. We send it out. It'll be on our Facebook page. There'll be links. We'll have it in all our community centers. But we're asking our community, what kind of parks do you want to see? What kind of amenities? Evaluate the services you're currently getting from us and tell us, and we want people's honest feedback from that. If you need more pickleball courts, or, you want more fitness classes, or, perhaps you love the gym and you like everything and nothing needs to change, which I doubt. I'm sure there's things we can do. We want to hear about it. And we take in all that information and we use it to continue adding on to our long-term plan of what parks we're going to develop, what amenities we need to add, things of that nature.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You've got, I'm glad we're talking about that, because people we're into October, and people see things or are used to see things that they don't see anymore.
Mhm.
It's the calendars that you used to see, the aisles of calendars and new inserts for your binders for with your dates and everything else. We just don't see that anymore because we've gone to technology, and
Mhm.
a lot of people have switched over. And I bring that stuff up because knowing that the Parks and Recs department actually is looking at 2022 with within the time frame of finishing this year strong, because you've got some pretty big events happening in a real short period
We
of time.
do, and fingers crossed we get to do them this year. I mean, I think we're so excited just because we had some major ones last year. We started planning, we came up with alternatives, and of course, it just there were other plans and other directions, and so I think we're super excited that our two big signatures, the trick or treat. Of course, it's a little different than what it usually is, but that's okay because we get to do it. And the essence of it, the heart of that event is still the same. And then we have poinsettia. So for anyone who's not familiar, we have on December 4th, we have the Poinsettia Parade and Festival. We just submitted the release also on October 1st, where we're requesting members of the community to submit a float application. So what we really need right now is for people to sign up for floats. We attempted to do a virtual limited in-person viewing poinsettia parade last year, and unfortunately there just wasn't enough interest from the community to submit floats. I think people they weren't quite to that comfort level yet. The vaccine wasn't a thing
Right,
just yet,
right.
and so we weren't able to do that event because we didn't have enough floats. And so I'm really hoping this year we're pushing hard, and we're really hoping that people will join us. The theme is retro rockin' holidays. And so we hope to have a lot of great interest, a lot of great participation from the community of folks entering a float into that parade and just, kicking off December uh, as together. I think that would be a beautiful thing. I'm looking forward. I have lighted earrings that I've
Oh,
been dying to wear.
so you're ready.
I'm ready. I have the hat. Things are happening.
So you've got, let's see, you've got the thing. You've got Halloween
Mm-hmm.
coming up. You've got the Poinsettia Parade coming up.
We do. We
Um,
have a pumpkin plunge. I don't think we talked about that one.
you did not.
Yeah,
That
so pumpkin plunge, if you don't have a pumpkin yet and you want to get a pumpkin in a unique way, you can go to the aquatic center and you can jump into the water and pick your pumpkin from our floating patch this Halloween. So,
oh, that's a cool idea.
yeah, it's fun. We did it last year. It was super fun. We were really appreciative. Detweilers actually donated 100 pumpkins to us for that event. So thank you, Detweilers. We appreciate you. But it's a really great time. We're going to have like some harvest time activities that kind of have an aquatic twist. Parents can come in with their little ones for free. So the fee is $10 per child, and that gets you a pumpkin and access to the activities and the accompanying. I totally killed it.
I
Said it right. Yeah.
I think that's perfect.
Yeah, thank you. The grown up with you is complimentary. So you
Yeah.
can come in and the pictures are fun. I mean, it's a truly Florida pumpkin patch. So
Well, and here's the beauty is that I think it'll draw people into the aquatic center that may not have ever been there before too.
no, I hope so. I mean, if you haven't been there, this is a great event to come by, check it out. I mean, you can come by anytime really and get a free tour. We'll show you around. But yeah, it's a fantastic facility, and we love this event. It's a good time. I've taken my kids the last couple to the last one last year, and they really enjoyed it. And we have big pumpkins and little pumpkins. So if you have a tiny little person like I do, and she can't pick up one of those giant ones, it's kind of fun because my 8-year-old goes and grabs the biggest pumpkin he can find. Right? Like it's
Yep.
got to be the largest pumpkin. And, the 2-year-old is going to go grab the tiniest, littlest, whatever she can actually hold. So,
Or try to carry.
yeah, yeah. And then my teenager will just sit back and try to avoid me taking pictures. So it'll be good.
Yeah.
Classic.
You got all three levels.
I do. I got it covered.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you something about the aquatic center because there's been interesting conversations this year
Mm-hmm.
because there's been record-setting numbers.
And we had some really good months there. I'm trying to pull up actual facts for you.
Well, and I know this was a shocker, but I personally don't need numbers. I think the numbers are still not where they're going to be,
Oh
because
yeah,
we're
I would agree
still
with that.
we're still trying to get the information out about the aquatic center
Hmm.
and Parks and Rec in general. Okay, but
Sure.
the aquatic center itself, the if you were to step back today and assess what happened with COVID,
Hmm.
and then you saw what happened when you opened up, because I don't care what anybody says, COVID, that whole year was not just depressed with information. It was There was no information going out, and no there couldn't be, because
Hmm.
nothing was open. How do you promote something that isn't really in existence?
Sure. Well, and the
Businesses had
challenge we had was the restrictions when we did reopen because we were
right
closed for a relatively short time in comparison to the
to
rest of the
everything.
world. But the challenge we had is we kind of had this gradiated kind of opening where it was like, okay, you can have 140 in there. Well, now you can have 280, and now so even the restrictions on terms of capacity and who you could have there changed as we went. And that was, of course, over our very first, what would be our busy season, of course, which is the summer. So I will say this, I mean, every day I went past that place, it was hopping. There were buses there and people on all the slides and on all the, I mean, every day of the week this summer, it was packed. July was phenomenal. We had over
Delay. There we
$220,000
go.
in revenue
Hmm.
in July.
Go back 1 second. We had a little delay there, but
Oh,
will you go
did I
back and say
freeze?
that again? Yeah, you froze just a little bit, but go
I
ahead and
hope
say
I was
that again.
frozen though in an attractive way and not in like a weird face like
You
this.
are. You're perfect.
Okay. Okay, what part did I get frozen at?
The financial side, where you were
Okay.
talking.
Okay. So we had it was a very good summer, July in particular, which we always suspected would be our highest performing month. We had over $220,000 in revenue. Our concessions, there was over what is it, over 47,000 in concession stand revenue for the month of July alone. And so I think we're looking forward to, we're finalizing our last numbers now, and that's going to give us, by the middle of this month, we should have the audited financials back for September. And I think we're going to be very happy with that ultimate number of a year that still had uncertainty, that still had some folks who weren't comfortable going out because of COVID. I think we're more in aligned with what you would expect to see in terms of loss from a community center. I mean, I'm going to say again, the aquatic center is not going to make money. It's not, but we're set up to be a benefit to the community, right? We're set up to be an asset where you can come in and you can get swimming lessons and you can learn about water safety, or it's a place for the kids to go. It provides jobs. I mean, we have a ton of high schoolers who are there.
I want to say this though, because I think you hit something uh, that should speak volumes to people in our community. We are a very young community,
Mhm.
and I'll promise you, we have kids out there that don't know how to swim.
Yes.
They don't know anything about water safety. It's to me, having the service like we have in the aquatic center and underutilizing that service, that's the harm. The aquatic center is not going anywhere. It's built. It's moving forward. Everything is happening there. And I'm glad that you said it the way you did, which was it's not designed to make money, but it's providing a community service. Well, it's your tax dollars back to work for you if you utilize the service. That's kind of how I look at it. And we're not going to backfill it with dirt or
No.
sand. That's going to go away. So we need to all wrap our hands around the aquatic center and really start promoting the
Yeah.
aquatic center out. to the
Well, and I
community
think
so
one of
that
the things
more
we're
people
now
are involved.
starting to see, John, if I may, I do want to share
Right?
that it's been so exciting this year because what it was really built to be was not just, I think people get distracted by the lazy river and the slides and that stuff, but you forget that it's also home now to swim teams.
Yep.
The Sea Dragons are practicing there now every night at 5 o'clock. So if you want to join the swim team, they have a swim team now that's a community swim team. They also are home now to the Northport Bobcats. So the high school swim team just had their first swim meets and have had, we haven't had swim meets yet there. It's crazy to believe that the aquatic center is 2 years old and we didn't get to host a swim meet yet because they were all canceled. And we hosted our first one. It was exciting. The staff were super excited to put in like the timing systems and, we tested that stuff, but we haven't got to really put it to use yet in an actual meet. And so, the kids were excited. And now the Northport High School has an actual home for their swim team, which they haven't had before. We have the water polo there. We have scuba diving lessons. I mean, there are people who are utilizing that facility that we hadn't seen yet in the first couple of years because of the state of everything else that was going on in the world, and that's
But
really what it was meant to be. And then
but
the
do you
water
think the
safety.
word? Do you think? And I'll ask you this, but do you think the word is getting out on a? I don't want to say more positive. I want to say, do you think the word is getting out to people who didn't realize what they had in their own backyard, basically?
I do. I mean, personally, I do. I mean, I monitor the part of my job is monitoring the feedback from the community and the comments that we're getting, and we have far more supporters than we have detractors now. I think people who haven't been there have come and they realize what a great deal. I mean, for the price of going to the movies, you can come and have a whole day of entertainment at a water park with your family doing healthy things outside, and you get 8 hours of entertainment. Um, so I think that at least from my perspective, people have been seeing the benefit and have been coming, and our staff have worked extremely hard at reducing the costs where we can. So they've been very thoughtful about, the chemicals that are needed to balance the pool and how can we reduce or source that so that we reduce the cost, and how can we run the staffing hours, right? The lifeguards and the number of folks it takes to open that facility, and how we schedule them and how they rotate through. I mean, I can't say enough to the team over there and how they've worked with those kids, because you can be 16 to be a lifeguard, right? So the vast majority of our lifeguards, especially seasonally, are high school kids, who now are trained in first aid and CPR and who have life-saving skills, and have a first job and are learning those types of skills too. So I
So,
think it's a fantastic place for everybody, really.
so I want to point something out, and this is on a self note that leads into exactly what you just said about the younger generation being able to come in there, learn this skill set. Um, I I've got 25 years medical.
Yeah.
When something goes wrong, I jump into my medical background and I jump in,
Yeah.
and I do whatever I can. I've given CPR, I've saved lives, I've done all those things. Without having that knowledge, I couldn't have done it.
Yeah.
Okay. Or couldn't have done it as effectively. So, there again, we're talking about a community that has a ton of mileage on canals.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
got
We have
all
80 miles.
80 miles.
80
80
miles
miles.
of, yes. Yep.
And we've talked about those canals. We've talked about how people clean them out. We talked about all these other
Yes.
things. But guess what? We also have 80 miles of canals
Hmm.
that kids are in.
We do. Yep.
And
And
the
it's
more
sad.
people, go ahead. Go
It's
ahead.
scary. So one thing I do want to state is that our Learn to Swim program, the kids who are learning those life-saving things, one of the biggest missions of the aquatic center is not just water safety when you're visiting us only at our facility. It's also, we want you to know what to do when you're at the beach, when you're at someone else's house and they have a pool and you're not used to there being a pool, or if you do own a pool, what are some of the barriers you should put in place to reduce the risk that you have when you have kids or other people visiting, so water safety is a huge proponent of what we do. our Learn to Swim lessons have been booked months in advance. There is such a need in this community for those types of lessons that we are well booked in advance. So if you're looking to get your little one in swimming lessons, please reach out to us now. You can come by. Everybody gets a free swim evaluation. You just need to stop by the aquatic center. They'll get you in the pool. They'll help evaluate where you or your child is at, and they can get you signed up for the right lesson. And if money is a barrier, which it should never be, for something that saves lives like this, we have a program. So if you are worried about affording the swim lessons, we have a youth scholarship program. We've been very fortunate to have that been sponsored by the Rotary Club of Northport. That club has donated thousands of dollars to date to ensure that local kids can get free lessons for Learn to Swim. So you can just fill out a simple application. It's online. You can stop by and we'll help you fill it out. Or you can call us and we'll help you fill it out over the phone. If you can't get to us, we'll find a way to help you. But we can get you on the roster and make sure that you get free swim lessons. And we're super excited because we just finished training with the Learn to Float, the Float for Life program. And that program teaches as young as 3 months of age all the way up how to, if you fall in water, how to turn and float and potentially save your life. And so our instructors are going to be teaching others, and we're hoping to start some classes with that later this fall. So yeah, I mean, it's a great program. Everybody, you live in Florida, everybody needs to learn this. I don't care if you're a baby, if you're an older person, if you have gotten to this point in your life and you don't know how to swim and you live here in Florida, come out and see us. We have private one-on-one lessons. I love seeing the adults who have not learned yet, who have come out and taken some lessons with us. I mean, it's so important. It could save your life. So stop out and join us.
And even more so, think about the fact that if you learn how to swim, you might be able to save someone else's life. Because truthfully, 80 miles of canals, anything can happen. Anything. I haven't heard of anything in Northport for a while, and thank goodness we don't hear it too often.
No, unfortunately, yesterday we had a drowning yesterday in a pool. So
yeah. Oh, we did.
Yeah, but it was an older person, I believe, but still, it was a drowning death. So.
And these things happen. Okay. Mm-hmm. The whole key to this whole thing though is educate yourself on what we have to offer within our community and take advantage of it, because like you said, the costs are very slim, but and I really did not realize, because I'm on a vacation, I didn't realize we had a drowning in Northport. It just doesn't happen very often, and truthfully, it's the amount of care that goes into I think education out, and I think people are really aware of what's happening in their pools and their yards. Mm-hmm. It's when they leave your site and go to the canals. Right. It's when they go to a maybe even a friend's house. Maybe the parents aren't home. It's that second that you think everything's going to be fine, and it's not anymore. Yep. And I know it's a great service. I know that we've talked to staff. We need to have them back on the show again.
We should. It's about time. May is usually our Drowning Prevention Awareness Month, and we do have a couple events throughout the year that be on the lookout for. We have the May Day Drowning Prevention Expo, and that's an expo where we invite all kinds of local groups to come and talk about water safety and what you can do. If you have a boat, what are some of the things you should do? If you own a pool, what are the things you should do? If, we have information about our swim lessons, about our youth scholarship there. We also have the world's largest swim lesson, which is the free swimming lesson that we do once a year. And we've been working, hopefully now that COVID and the schools are starting to do field trips and things like that again, we're hoping to be able to work with the Gulf Coast Community Foundation again. We were doing free lessons for, I believe it was second graders in the city of Northport. Every second grade class, they were coming and getting free swim lessons at the aquatic center. So so hopefully we can start those things up again. But yeah, if anyone is interested, check out cityofnorthport.com/swim lessons. If you're interested in the youth scholarship program or you want to apply, it applies. We have a category for swim lessons that is specifically funded by like the Rotary Club assists with that and other donations. That can also be used for things like camp. If you need assistance with paying for camp or other recreation programs, that's an option as well. And that's cityofnorthport.com/youth scholarship. So you can check that out. It's also in our playbook. So page 21 is
nice.
the Learn to Swim. Hey, lots of Post-its on there. I mean, that's
absolutely, it works.
It does. So no, definitely check those things out. It is so near and dear, and I know that the team over at the Aquatic Center, drowning prevention and water safety awareness is just so important to them, and is such a keystone of everything that they're doing.
So I'm going to ask this too, because 2022, I'm focused on 2022 because we're less than 90 days away.
No, don't say that.
Which is scary to me because I don't know what happened to 21, other than it just seems to be flying.
Yeah, it's gone.
So 2022 with the Aquatic Center, and I'm going to ask this. It's once again future. Do you see the conversations that, and the I guess the appreciation of the facility? Do you see people having open conversations now, and then possibly, having a bigger crowd next year and being able to manage this a little different than you had to do this year?
Sure. So for the conversation aspect, I've seen those conversations happening already. I mean, I've seen people making posts of saying like, I just want you to know I went, I had a great experience. My kids were so happy. Definitely will go back again. The facility was so clean. The water was so nice. If you just go look at the Google reviews for the Aquatic Center, they're pretty nice. So nice. I would say that in general, although there are always things we can work on, I would say that team out there has done a fantastic job managing expectations and working as hard as they can to prove their value to the community. I will say it's tough on the staff, when you sometimes get some of that negative feedback at first, and what you don't see behind the scenes are the people who are working 50, 60-hour weeks, working their tails off to make sure that this facility is really what it's meant to be and is serving the public, and they're working very hard to do that. And so folks who perhaps have not even been there, when they just say things about it but they haven't taken the chance to visit, I mean, that's tough, but I would encourage folks who haven't, we want to win your trust and your appreciation. So if you haven't been there yet, we want to earn your respect, and we hope you'll come out and join us and take a tour and see what we have to offer. You might be surprised. And I think for the future, I only see that increasing because I think the numbers are just going to increase. I think we're going to continue to see steady folks coming in. I think our summers are going to continue to be, we're really going to have that seasonal effect where our summers are very, very busy out there. And it's a great option for people to visit.
See, and I think you guys deserve a lot of appreciation. And I say this because I've done the show from there. I've seen the facility. I actually want to do it again. Only I'm working on a way to
without the weather interrupting us.
Without the weather, without running for shelter. But that was kind of a cool side of it too, because
it was fun. I made everyone very nervous when we were out on deck.
But here's the funny thing: that's what happens where you're poolside too. So if you're there and a storm rolls up, guess what? You gotta go to shelter. Yeah. And we did. We went to shelters. Probably not as quickly as we could, but we
should have gone faster. I think we made our supervisor over there a little nervous with the lightning in the background. But
they were holding the door open as we were running through with the cameras and stuff. It's just hard to stop in the middle of a show a lot of times because you don't know how to transition. Yeah. I'm working on that, and I want to go more than I am now, which is amazing that we're live on the radio, live on YouTube. I know Facebook is having trouble today, so we didn't get the YouTube capture.
It's a Monday for Facebook. It didn't get its coffee or something.
That's right. Something happened. But the fact that we're talking about the Aquatic Center, the success it's had, okay,
Mhm.
after 1 year of really being shut down,
Yeah.
I don't consider COVID year a year where you guys could go, yeah, look at what we did. I
No,
mean,
and
we
we
made
kinda
it.
threw those numbers out too, right? Because how
Yeah,
can you even with our other events and things like that, 2020 was just such a weird year for everything that we really can't use those metrics. I mean, we're always measuring like right year over year in terms of attendance or revenue or rentals or
can't do it.
whatever. You just can't because it's such an apples to oranges comparison. It just doesn't work. So
And I think that the fact that you guys had the naysayers, I it's not going anywhere. I once you build it, they will come. All right, they're going to come.
yeah.
It's getting the information out, and what I appreciate is the fact that the core group of you
Hey.
never there. The people are driving by. Wait a
Well,
minute.
you're famous, John.
I listen. We're anytime you're sitting on grandma's front porch and somebody drives by, they're always going to honk and wave.
I
That's
love
what they
that.
do.
That's awesome.
Welcome to the country. We got dogs now barking in the background. We got it all. So it's no big deal. And you got to appreciate live radio that you're actually live on site,
Yeah.
not trapped in the studio, because you get the real aspect of life. That's
You
all.
do. You do. I
But
think if anything else, this past year has taught us to appreciate that more, right? From cat
absolutely,
lawyers
absolutely.
to all the other things happening.
Well, that's also why I want to say that the fact that you guys had so much negative conversation, you grabbed the positive side of it, and you just seem to ride the positive side of things, which I don't know that you had any other choice.
Right.
As a core group, I mean, you guys really worked hard, and don't beat up the people who are running the program. Beat up anybody else, but the aquatic center a part of our community now, and I think we all need to wrap our hands around it and tell everybody about it.
Yeah. Well,
Because
thank
I
you
see
for that. I do.
people.
I'll pass that along. It means a lot to the team. I mean, I can't tell you I know every 5-star Google review it got this summer. I know the staff out there were printing it off and putting it on the wall, and we're just really excited to have that kind of positive feedback. And even the things they see sometimes on the socials that are like, oh, well, it wasn't what I thought, or it was better than I expected. And we've seen that narrative changing. And I just appreciate the community being open and the folks who have embraced us and who are there and supporting it. And I hope that, I mean, ultimately that's what we're here for, right? We're here to serve the people, and that's what we're going to do.
And I want to remind the people of something else. If those kids are not there and they're not at our parks, where are they?
It's a great question.
We really are blessed to have a community that has so many parks and has a great Parks and Rec center, has an aquatic center now that the kids can brag about,
Yeah.
and that they can go and do things at. Just think about this, though. If they're on the streets, you're not going to be so happy where you live.
No.
And the fact that we have limited places for kids to go, we actually have a lot of places for kids to hang out in Northport compared to other communities. So we're really blessed. And I know I've got to go, but I wanted to end with that. And
thank you, John. I didn't hear that. I'm sorry.
Is there anything you'd like to add in real quick?
No, I just say thank you. If anyone has questions, call us 941-429-7275. Check out our website when Facebook is working and has its coffee and is back up. We're on Facebook at Northport Parks and Rec. But just get connected with us. Come see us and, reach out to us if you have questions. That's what we're here for.
This is John Rawlings with 97.5 FM. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you guys on Friday. Bye-bye now.